Today we're going to talk about why and how Amazon is flagging listings automatically through AI. And the underlying reason is to protect the consumer. There are a number of reasons why you could be restricted, and these are due to the policies of the selling platform, Amazon.com. It could also be legal reasons, state, federal, or local reasons why your product or product type may be excluded or scraped for compliance. It's important before you create those products on Amazon that you review the selling policies related to the product type or whatever you've researched and you're thinking about at your assortment. This doesn't only impact new products, it impacts existing products. So Amazon will routinely scrape an entire catalog. They'll put your item under a 4-day review. It's essentially a temporary quarantine to determine whether or not your listing is accurate and compliant from a state and federal point. To that, the policies that Amazon has in place for those product types. There's a huge list of items that Amazon just doesn't allow. Amazon does have the ability to cross-reference product type allowed based on the that product type and government entities. So think CPSC, FDA, EPA. Most common is actually related to bacteria claims, mold, mildew, and what they would consider pesticides. Kicking back to the EPA, they connect the dots with them. The system is smart, but it's also dumb. So it doesn't understand gray areas. It does make, under the dumb categories, make assumptions based on the product type. And it assumes before innocence. And your expectation, or their expectation, is that if the system thinks you are guilty, you can prove you are innocent. And it's the AI's job to do this. So I know a lot of people feel like, well, why am I being targeted? My competitor isn't. And that is not necessarily true. It's being done agnostic of seller and or brand. It's happening to the large brands and the small brands. The large brands can kind of get themselves out of trouble faster. They may have internal counsel and or teams specific to compliance that can combat a lot of these things, right? And the smaller guys don't. Usually have to go back to your supplier. There's some research or education involved, so it's more frustrating for the smaller guys than it is the larger guys because the same systems are just not in place. Something that a lot of people do not know about Amazon, and that's the fact that they can put brands on watch lists. If your brand has a history of violating policies of theirs, Amazon selling policies, and at that point it's a little bit more troublesome. It's harder to reinstate products because no matter what you tell Amazon, oftentimes they will maintain the restriction and continue to fail. You're in that bucket and you've received that news from Amazon, you definitely need help of a compliance specialist and or legal counsel or a reinstatement or a suspension specialist, and there's many of them out there. You may need some internal help. So if you have a VSP or something along those lines, they can help you with that, or seller success. But the AI is getting smarter and smarter every year, and you do need to be very careful when you list products on a new brand. You need to do this at the research phase. So leverage ChatGPT, Gemini, ask them, is this a category which is frequently restricted for sale on Amazon? Is this a category or product type that's frequently temporarily removed or under scrutiny? Certain words that I should avoid. And you want to make sure that you do avoid all those things. Keep the listing relatively simple and free of claims. Don't use words that Amazon considers affiliated or inferred that they have a drug ingredient, drug component with them. There's a lot of products in health and personal care and beauty that fall into that category, and you may be inadvertently inferring that your product is, there's a claim in there, right? And if there's a claim for something that, let's say, is a beauty item, Amazon just connect the dots and goes, well, if they can claim cure and or treatment of XYZ, then the seller is inferring that the item has a drug, so therefore we are assuming the product is a drug. So you'll get that FDA notice, which may be, offensive, confusing for some of you, but that's just the way that the system is programmed to behave. You can't take it personally. Oftentimes, calls with seller health are helpful prior to submitting the POA. If you submit the POA, you can't really go back and talk to seller health, and while that POA or appeal is under review. You need to wait for it to be accepted or rejected, but help you. But what we find is very helpful is to kind of throttle and bounce back and forth between seller support and seller health phone support. Where I have concerns moving forward, and really all of you should be concerned and be more cautious creating listings, is if and when, and it's just a matter of time. It's really not an if, it's a when. Is to fully automate this process in which you won't be able to speak to a human being, and the AI may be extremely unforgiving in its responses back to you. So its expectations of you may, right? It's going to you to know the law and their policies. With this in mind, hopefully it can help some of you prevent or maybe fix your appeals. If you have questions, please reach out. You can comment below. You can reach us at .comreps.com through support. You can schedule a meeting with me directly, may be able to help, or refer you to a specialist, people that just do statements, things like that. Again, I'll also include a link to the selling policies, what items are allowed and not on their platform. Hopefully that will help a few others. And watching this video, and look out for others. Thank you.